And boom, what's up, mortgage coach community? I am interviewing Shant Banosian, #1 loan officer in America. Is this the third or fourth time we've done this, Shant?
Definitely, I think the third. 3 times a charm, I guess, right?
Yeah, well, no, every one of them's been amazing. And thank you for being on the Modern Mortgage Summit. Really appreciate it, brother.
Of course,
Uh,
my pleasure. It's awesome. It's a gift you're
so,
giving to everybody in the industry.
yeah, well, you're always learning and you're always doing better. And I'm looking forward to hearing how you answer these questions. I know you watched at least one of those halftime report interviews I did.
More than one. I've watched a bunch of them.
Oh, you did? You watched a few of them?
Yeah, over the years. Yep, for sure. I love it. I love learning.
Cool. Well, it's, I've been doing this for 30 years and I was doing some reflecting and I've never seen a year like this, where, yeah, there's some tough data points, rates going up 2%, low inventory, that, the wind in our face going uphill. But hey, people got a lot of equity. There's a lot of opportunity. There's, a pretty good chance rates are going to come down again, later this year or next year. So there's struggle and there's opportunity this year. And so I want to ask you some questions. Before I do that, I think most people in the mortgage coach community know about you because you're just, I've interviewed you and you're one of the best and the biggest loan officers in America. But any new loan officers that got in the business last week, give us a minute on who you are and what kind of production you're doing.
Oh, wow. I don't really like talking about myself, as funny as it sounds, but I will, I've been in the mortgage business. I really kind of got going back in, I started truly this side of the business in 2008, right? Became a retail loan originator. I'm proud to say that, over the last couple of years, we funded almost $1 billion in 2019. We finally eclipsed $1 billion, got to $1.7 billion in 2020, did over $2.2 billion in 2021. What I'm proud of is that we've, in a year like, $2.2 billion last year, we did over $1 billion in purchase volume. So the foundation of my business has always been built off purchases. I'm in Massachusetts, however, I'm proud to say I'm licensed in all 50 states, doing business everywhere, both purchases and refis. I started out in Mass, but it's grown, and the business has allowed me to keep growing, meeting really cool, awesome people, both amongst the real estate community and the mortgage community. So that's it. This business has been a blessing to me. I fell into it by accident, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And there's nothing else I want to do.
What is the goal for this year? I'm sure it's a little adjusted, or you have a philosophy of how you're approaching 2022. What is the goal right now?
Yeah, so the goal, really my goal is to just grab market share more than ever. So I don't think we're going to eclipse doing over $2 billion again. 50% of our business last year was refinances, and that's going to be kind of tough to go out and find that business. It's largely dried up. We're still doing some cash out refinance, still some debt consolidation, home improvement cash, but a lot of divorces too. However, my goal is to grow our purchase volume and do over $1 billion again this year. We're on track. We're definitely pacing to do over $1 billion and do more purchase than last year. And just the other things that we're focused on is like really just kind of get back out on the street, meet with as many partners as possible. It's all about relationships and connection this year. So that's one part of it, is like give me the opportunity to get back out on the street because we weren't able to do that. And I talk about that a lot in Modern Mortgage Summit and the video that I did for that. The other part is just really just improving all our systems and processes to deliver the fastest close in the industry. And that's like not just me talking about closing fast. That's like every single member of my team from start to finish, just being able to close very, very fast, as you can imagine. Our clients are competing more than ever before. 1 out of every 4 deals out there is a cash deal. 2 out of the other 3 offers are waiving all their contingencies. So I'm trying to make my clients look the best amongst all the competition out there. And then lastly, my other goals are just making sure I'm out there and just educating our consumers, our vendors, our partners, everybody in terms of like all things mortgage, all things real estate, all things investing. I'm really just doing a lot of studying and just getting information so I can communicate it out there. So I want to make myself more visible. I want better relationships. I want to help my clients win. Those are my goals for this year.
I like it. Super simple, super straightforward, easy to say, hard to do at scale, and with a big team. So we're going to get into that. So anyone listening, I did a whole top producer interview with Shant. I'll put a link down below if you want to hear the story in more detail. There's a couple interviews. I'll put links down below. I did one with Ryan Serhat and Shant. Really good stuff. So Shant, the first question, there is data and trends that are hurting us, and we don't need to get into interest rates because it's just so obvious and everybody knows rates are up, rate and term refis are down. And then there's some data points and some trends that are good, that create opportunities for us.
Absolutely.
What are the top 1 to 3 trends or data points that you want to call out that are hurting us and helping us?
Look, I say this on my video, so I'll just give you guys a little thing. I personally don't live my life like I'm in a interest rate economy, or I don't live in an inventory economy. I live in an action economy. I create my own actions, right? And like my actions create results, and that's what creates winners, right? So like I'm trying to figure out what I can do to go out and get more business. And when the market shifts like this, what changes is not kind of like the amount of business you do. All you have to shift is kind of where you go and get that business from. So you got to open up new resources. I'm focusing on how to improve so many different facets of my business, whether it's new construction, whether it's projects, whether it's doing more VA business. Like I'm working on things that I've never worked on before because the opportunity is there, and I got to fill in that pipeline. But trends, the trend that I think is a good trend that I think people are taking lightly is that inventory is definitely increasing, right? Like, in my hometown, for example, for the last 6 months, there was like 1 to 4 houses on the market, right? This is obviously a small data set. All of a sudden, as of last week, there's 20 single family homes on the market, right? So less competition amongst, like before, everybody was fighting over the same 1, 2, or 3 houses in a specific community. Now we're going to start seeing, I'm already noticing that more and more clients are starting to win and get their offers accepted because the competition is a little bit less fierce. And ultimately, to me and to all of us in this business, like we just want to do as many transactions as possible. We want those leads to turn into pre-approvals, to turn into homeowners. And so ultimately, like the more clients that are winning is better. So I'm pretty fired up about the second half of the year because I think we're going to have an opportunity to do more business because there seems to be more houses on the market and a little bit less competition out there. So that the clients that I am talking to are serious buyers that are going out, hopefully winning. And so that's a trend that I like, is the fact that listings are improving and that there's a little bit less competition amongst buyers, which hopefully will lead to more homeowners. So that's what I'm really focused on right now, fired up about.
Well, I know one of the quotes is going to make the article I make in the halftime report is action economy. He's like, I'm not into the interest rate economy. I'm not into the inventory economy. I'm in the action economy. And so, dude, that was a winner. All right. So yeah, I really do. I love that. So one thing I've done after all these interviews, and I've kind of listened to them, and then I've applied some of my own thoughts. And tell me what your thoughts on this are. Is we obsess in the mortgage industry based off the scoreboard. How many loans did you close and families did you serve? How much volume you did. And by the way, that's great because we're competitive. We want to win, and those are the big numbers to win. I mean, that is what equals income for mortgage companies and commissions for salespeople. So nothing wrong with that. But I think we should add equally to those metrics is conversion. What was your conversion? And also add a metric for loan officer, profitability. How many basis points are you giving up in exceptions? And customer satisfaction scores. So like literally, loan officer, loans closed, production, conversion, profitability, that. And it's something that every loan officer should be competing on those metrics too, and
I agree with you more.
And so if we expanded our scorecards in the lending industry, and not only did we compete on those 3 metrics that I just called out, but then we also, when we're doing our weekly sales meeting, because that's one of the things that also distinguishes you, is how often do you and your team train? I mean, I know the answer. I just want everybody to hear it.
Yeah, there's a ton of training amongst all of the different departments in the team. Like we do sales training, we do operations training, we do business development, marketing, and then we cross train amongst all the different facets of the business so everybody understands what everybody else is working on and how they can implement other parts of the business into their dialogue with our clients and our partners. The one thing that we do, and we've done this for years, is we marry our success to Net Promoter Score. So every single person on our team that touches a file has a Net Promoter Score that we monitor on a daily basis, and which is ultimately the client's feedback to us after the closing as to whether they're likely, by their answers to our survey, to be a promoter for us out on the street, become essentially such a good client that they're effectively an active member of our sales team, going out and telling everybody about us, and are they likely to refer us and whatnot. So Net Promoter is something that we have always bought into. I think nobody on my team is ever allowed to say that client didn't understand or didn't know what they were talking about. We look at feedback as an absolute gift from our clients, and we take action with that feedback in terms of implementation of training, systems, processes, communication, and we're always on the phone with the clients asking like what we could have done better. But feedback is an absolute gift, and it's something that's it's free, and it's something that you should openly solicit from your clients, your partners, and vendors.
Yeah, and if I recall, you guys do training like 4 days a week.
Yeah. I mean, there's literally almost every single day on our team, there's some form of training or meeting going on where we're communicating with each other to move the business forward. It's like we're totally bought into getting better daily.
So think about it, everyone. If we started scorecarding conversion, and then you have the loan officers that have the highest conversion doing best practice training on that, and we scorecarded price exceptions, who's given the least, and we did some training on that. So obviously that's something in mortgage coach community I'm very serious about doing sales training. And at Mortgage Coach and Sales Boomerang, we're obsessed with improving conversion.
I'll tell you, there's been times where like, I don't know what I'm going to talk to my sales team about, or I don't know what I'm going to talk to my team about. I'll jump on Mortgage Coach, listen to some of the videos that other people have done, and try to just get there's some really smart people. I certainly just take a lot of other really smart people's information, use them as a resource, and make it authentic to myself and make it relatable to what we're doing, and communicate it. So thank you for always putting great content out there, because even when you don't know we're watching and utilizing it to make ourselves better.
Well, I want you to call out, because you had mentioned when we were prepping that you had watched Steve Jacobsen's interview. What did you like about it? Because I want to make sure that takeaway gets out to the community, because I thought it was one of my biggest takeaways from that. Well, I had 3 big takeaways from that conversation with Jake, but what was yours?
Yeah, I watched it. What I loved about it, the simplicity of the message, right? Like, one, every market shifts. We know that every market's going to constantly be shifting. And I think it's just understanding this in every market, there's going to be top performers and bottom performers. So you have a decision to make in terms of being a top performer. I'm always talking about this splitting consistency. He must have said that, probably 10 times throughout the course of the call, which resonates with me. He talked a lot about just doing the work. Like, there's going to be people that are, unfortunately in every market, same thing happened last year and the year before. Like we tend to forget like how hard 2020 was, right? Like it's just because the numbers are good, but like, there's going to always be people that are just going to wait for the market to shift, and then they'll jump in after it's done shifting. Well, that realistically, that never happens. Like, you've got to go all in all the time and adapt and thrive in the market and what it gives you. And I think that's his message, was like, this is a great opportunity to go out and grab market share, but you got to do the work, and you got to hold yourself accountable to making the phone calls, doing, mining your database more than ever. I think, we talked about that as well during the call, and just actually putting in the effort, because the last 2 years we got spoiled. We turned very transactional. We disappeared. We hid behind a desk. We hid behind email. We hid behind text. We hid behind Zoom calls. You can't hide anymore. You have to go out there and get it if you want to do business. And that's the difference maker. The people that take action in 2022 are going to reap the rewards in 2023 and 2024. And the people that wait, and the companies that wait, they're not going to be around. I said this, Dave, you've been in the business a lot longer than I have, but I think you'll agree. When I got in the business in 2008, whoever the top 10 lenders were back then, I'd venture to guess and say they're not the top 10 lenders now. Whoever the top 10 loan officers were back then are not the top 10 loan officers right now. So you have the opportunity to write your story. Do you want to be in the top 5, the top 10, the top 100 in the next couple of years? It starts with the work you're doing right now. Whoever shows up now is going to reap the rewards of that. If you don't show up now, you're going to impact your career for the rest of your life.
Wisdom there, my friend. So there's a bunch of themes. This is actually a little screenshot of the the article I'm writing with Kristen, and there's a couple themes. One is if you can win with rate shoppers, you can win with everyone. Another theme is, flip the script with realtors by making your database number one priority. This one you and I just talked about, what we measure and celebrate matters more than ever. And then the last one, which we kind of already talked about, it's, get better, not bitter, with peer groups and weekly best practice training. Although after talking to you, maybe I need to make that daily. In fact, daily best practice training. I would like to talk a little bit about this one, flipping the script on your database, because that's something at Boomerang that we're pretty serious about. What are your thoughts on that? In terms of, if you do reviews, you love on your database, you don't lose any customers, you're going to be more valuable to agents. And one of the things we're also teaching is, you should be able to make a case for agents that give me your database and I'll make it more valuable because of the tech and the systems and the processes that we consistently deliver. What are your thoughts on that message?
Yeah, look, I mean, I watched, I forget who did it, but I remember you talked about, there was one of the webinars you did with a guest talking about how, like, you had loan officers mining realtors databases and like bringing the business back to them. And I think that's a great idea. We're certainly not mining our realtors databases, not because we don't want to, we just need to like get good at it. So I probably have some videos I need to be watching. However, our database, we're utilizing more than ever. I have 90,000 people in my database, right?
Wow.
Like that like we're putting content out to, whether it's video, whether it's email, whether it's campaigns or just follow up. We're utilizing it more than ever. And I'm blown away constantly by how easy it is and how much conversion there is from just utilizing the clients that already know you, like you, and trust you, or have somehow done business with you in some fashion or format, whether it led to a close on or not, how easy it is just to stay in touch with them, as long as you put out valuable content, right? You don't want to be one of those people that just puts them on an autopilot and like just puts junk out all the time. I think if you provide them something of value which they can learn, I'm blown away by the feedback I get all the time from people thanking me for providing them simple, fun, and useful data to help them navigate these changing markets.
Well, let me show you a focus that I have now. I know you're doing a demo of Sales Boomerang next week, but I mean, this is what most realtors, well, this is what every realtor's database, and this is what most lenders' database looks like. And we all know that this is what Rocket and Zilla's database looks like. I mean, they know who has equity, who doesn't. And our goal at Mortgage Coach and Sales Boomerang is to give every loan officer this intel and to be able to go to a realtor, because that's another thing is you could get data alerts that realtors could never get because you could get credit data. They can't. And so, the goal is to be able to anticipate a consumer who's ready to list their house and move up, to know, hey, who's over 60, has a lot of equity and has the profile of someone that wants to move down, and there's still a lot of cash out refis, to be able to identify, hey, who's got a lot of equity, but they got 2 car loans, they got credit card debt, and to be able to just like, go where the heat is. I personally think this is where we need to go as local referral-based providers, is put that intelligence around your database. And if you
I mean, look, there's no excuse to not be able to do more business when you have tools like that available to you that are just kind of like teeing it up for you, right? Like it's automated, it's important, it's impactful, and it's real, right? So I mean, I was looking at that, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm like not all over every single one of those points. Like how, like, like I'm like chomping at the bit a little bit for like, how can my brain was spinning as I was reading it, just in terms of like some of the things we could be using. So I'm fired up for that call with the Sales Boomerang team next week, because like we could totally be taking advantage of a lot of that stuff.
Well, I will. So last thought, I want to wrap it up in the next minute or two, respect your time, but what is, if you had a closing thought, there's, CEOs, there's heads of production, there's loan officers, there's new loan officers, there's ballers watching this. What's your closing thought for everyone?
Wow. I mean, look, I think there's massive opportunity on the other side of this year, right? Like there's opportunity right now, but like this is going to be a more impactful year. Like, it's more impactful than we all realize. So if you show up this year, you're setting the tone for a great run in front of you, great stretch run. But it's really, really important to have a plan, be very strategic, and hold yourself more accountable to than you've ever had. You might have to work harder this year than you worked last year, the year before, and do less business, but you're going to reap the rewards on the other side of it. I do think there's a refi boom coming on the other side of this, and I do think there's opportunity to go out and grab more market share and make yourself a force. But this is the type of year, like the years where everybody crushes it, those aren't market makers. These are the years, challenging opportunities, change, create massive opportunity for growth. So take advantage of it and understand what you're getting into, and just be more mentally strong and prepared and take care of yourself more than ever, because you got to show up every single day. It really counts right now.
Love that. Great wisdom. Anyone listening, if you got value from this, give it a like, share it with your mortgage team, share it with your leadership team. Shant, appreciate you, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you having me on here. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Take care, everybody.